what sparked your interest for a coffee shop specifically? What are some practical things that you've learned that you wish someone would have told you early on that could absolutely shift things?
Now looking back, I'm like, wow, those quiet moments were moments that you really should utilize. Like if I could go back, I would say.
Welcome to the Jackson Young Show, where the mission is to change the world one story at a time. You'll be hearing testimonies of real people, learning who they are and how they got to where they are. Whether they're an expert or someone just trying to figure things out, we all have a story that's worth sharing. Please, if you like the episode, tell a friend about it, send it to them, like and comment. That would mean a lot. Enjoy the show. This is the first episode of the Jackson Young Show.
I'm excited. Hi guys, I'm Carolina. Obviously, I own Northwood Coffee. We just opened about 6 months ago, and it's just been my little baby that I've been curating for the last couple months. But it's an idea that kind of bloomed maybe a year ago.
Wonderful. Well, we're going to go into all the reasons how this came to be, who you are, maybe a little bit of personal stuff, but I really want to focus on your business, the branding of it, how it came to be, the struggles that you worked out, overcame, and a little bit more about who you are. So if you could just give a brief timeline.
Yeah.
Maybe when you first found yourself being interested in business and how you got to where you are, sort of a highlight reel, and then we'll dive into some of those parts.
So for those of you who don't know me, like obviously, since I was a little girl, I've always had a really imaginative spirit. And that's kind of what's guided me throughout my life. It's the fact that I've always looked at everything like a possibility. So I've never really limited myself. But with that, it's kind of led me down different paths. So from a young age, I was really creative. I was always looking for an outlook and an outlet to be able to really create, especially because it's coming from my imagination. So something that I had never seen before, or trying to explain to others what my ideas were was kind of difficult. So as a kid, I kind of found myself just following the rest of the crowd. Going to college because it's like what you're supposed to do, being a good student, trying to get out of there, and then, going into corporate America, which was rewarding, but not my passion. So timeline, let's fast forward, to 10 years ago. I had embarked on my first corporate job out of college, which was in development. Really fun and exciting and learning new things. And that part really intrigued me because I was so imaginative. We were creating, big spaces. You were part of the building process. It was really fun. But as we kind of got more into the corporate aspect of it, it became a lot of limits. You weren't as heard. And that's kind of what sparked the idea probably around a year ago that I wanted to do something for myself. It was about that time where I was ready to embark, and I kind of had built enough confidence to kind of take that next step and believe in myself. So a year ago, crazy enough, I had moved to Northwood, and just on a random walk, I had seen the space where we are today, and I fell in love. I knew something in my heart. It was like, this is your spot, and I felt it. And kind of going off of that gut feeling and a little bit of self-confidence, it's become what it is today.
All right, so we've got before college, you're trying to figure things out. I think differently, but I'm just going to sort of do what everyone else is doing. You go to college, do the corporate job, you come out, you're looking for new things to do, and you dive into a coffee shop. Why coffee? What about this business model intrigued you? Is there something about coffee that you like? Is it you enjoyed another coffee shop and you said, let's try this? What sparked your interest for a coffee shop specifically?
Yeah, it was kind of a couple different things. To be honest, half of it was just kind of owning something that was mine, being able to put a name on it and say, I did this. The other half was really that I was kind of lacking community. I felt that I didn't have somewhere else to go. I went to work, I went home, and that was it. So I found myself in our community trying to find a space, and I couldn't find it. So I was like, why don't we make it? I felt confident enough that I could align with enough people mentally to really create a space that I thought that we could all share. And so for me, although coffee is my passion and I love, the art and the craftsmanship that it takes, really what I love to do is I love to create community. I love to create a space where like you and I could be doing something like this, or someone could come in and be having a terrible day, but somehow, tell me about it. And maybe I could change their perspective for a second, So having those interactions, creating a space where we all can be, and a safe space, because really coffee shops we all kind of have common interests, and we're all kind of going through our days trying to figure it out. And it almost became like a little spot where you could have like a breather, like a quick relaxed session, quickly talk to a barista. But that experience of community and having somewhere that you could go and feel safe is really like what I was trying to emulate.
Yeah, I want to come back to how you build community, what that looks like, what that means when you're trying to build a brand, and how those two play together. But I want to take a step back, because this is a lot. Now we're already into the business. Can you go into some challenges that you've overcome, either personally that helped you build confidence, or have the grit to overcome owning a business and all the challenges that came, or some of the things in business, maybe in college, at your corporate job, that really equipped you? Can you dive into some of that nitty gritty, like what wasn't easy, what sucked, the stuff that makes someone go, holy crap, I relate with that. I understand where you're coming from, and I just have respect for you because of how you overcame it.
Yeah. I think that my corporate job really gave me the confidence to make like executive decisions on someone else's dime. Like, I'm going to be honest, right? To some degrees, you're making these $1 million decisions, but you don't own the real risk. It's not really going to affect you when you go home. But being able to almost take into account someone else's money is almost more powerful than taking account your own, right? Because maybe you could come to terms as to why you did what you did, but when it's someone else's money, it's so different. So just being able to acquire certain skills, which is making executive decisions while analyzing my risks. Like, that's really what got me to where I am today. That basic knowledge through my corporate job gave me the confidence that I have today to say, hey, I'm going to open a coffee shop. This is what I'm going to need to do it. And also being okay with losing it all and starting over. So I would say that having that notion, because sometimes when you have a lot of expectations, you don't meet them, but that doesn't mean that you're not doing what you should be doing in that moment in time. Because I just don't think that we can really put a time frame on it. Everyone's journey is so different. But for me, having those little bit of skill sets that I acquired in my corporate job really has transcended me in my business, because it allows me to make those big decisions that are, kind of scary. It's small, it's myself, and those decisions really can teeter-totter whether I make it or don't.
Yeah.
So really having that grit to just continue to work hard, but also to find solutions. So, I mean, I've learned a lot through the corporate world, but there's going to be nothing like taking those risks on yourself, because you're just so rewarding in the long run.
That's a big business opportunity to learn there. Is there something personal as well, relationally, with your family, yourself, something that happened where you were able to really cultivate this inner strength inside of you?
Yeah. I would say that my parents are like the biggest inspiration for me, but also example. I'm Colombian, so we migrated to this country, my both parents, and then my brother and myself. Really young age. I was 1 year old, so you can imagine that my parents migrating to this country, not knowing English, having to kind of start over was really difficult. But one thing that I always saw in my parents was how hardworking they were, and they always told me that as long as you do an honest job, God will persevere and will guide you in the right direction. And for me, that's really been my guiding light. I've always said there's no job too big or too small that I would or would not do, because as a business owner, I'm sure some days you're getting to do more of the highlights, but then some days you're like kind of doing the nitty gritty, and you have to enjoy it just as much as you do the stuff that's more exciting. But you have to, because that's the only way that you're really going to push your business ahead. And for me, it's been seeing that example since a young age, and even today, our whole shop is built by my dad. He completely helped me do everything. He took my vision and something that maybe I just couldn't afford and made it a reality for me. So I'm blessed in that regard. And not to mention that every day he's telling me, don't give up. So having that support system in the background is important. And it's especially powerful for me because it's almost that I want to make them proud, but I know deep down that they've given me like all the tools that I need to be able to fulfill it. And so that is kind of like where that confidence comes in. I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it too.
That's right. That's good. It immediately makes me wonder, what about people who don't have that family support or community support, like, but they have a dream, they have a vision? What would you encourage someone with how to go about following and pursuing a vision without that support, without community, without the resources?
Yeah. I tell everyone that if you want to start something, you have to come up with the plan. And having that plan is important because it really dictates if it's realistic or if it's something that's just a little bit out of reach. But something that's out of reach doesn't mean to me that it's not going to happen. I think you just have to kind of pivot, and let's start with step one so we can take step two. So for me, if you don't have that support system, it doesn't mean that it won't come. In creating what you want to do, I do believe that there's other people that will be put in your life for a reason, and you will meet them doing whatever it is that you're envisioning. For instance, I'm not someone who has a lot of friends, or I'm not overly social, but I can tell you that in the last 6 months, I've made so many connections, friends, networking that I just didn't even think really existed anymore. Like from a perspective of like always seeing social media, going through COVID, which you're not really socializing that much. That's kind of one of the things that really was scary to me. I did have the support from my family, and of course they believe in me, but there's also that notion of like, well, will people like it? And you'll realize that once you start, those people that are meant to be in your life will start to kind of trickle in, and they will give you the confidence and like that boost that you need to just keep going.
That's encouraging.
Yeah,
even for me.
Yeah, like any sort of business, I always say, I'm like, you don't have all the answers early on. You just don't. And like you want to, and as like a business owner, you want to be as prepared as possible, right? You want to put the best foot forward, but it's just not always doable, and it just doesn't always happen that way. But what I can say is that in the last 6 months, some of the things that I never thought would happen have happened. And so it's almost made me more excited to continue because certain things that I didn't think I would achieve because I didn't put myself like in that little mold have actually happened.
That's good.
And so it's almost like what I originally thought was going to be my path has been completely different.
Can you go into some of those achievements? Can you just boldly proclaim some of the things you've been able to accomplish now?
Absolutely. And for me, it's like all the small wins. I'm like, the fact that we were actually able to open our doors. As a small business owner, people don't realize how much effort goes into opening any kind of business. I mean, from, getting all your licenses and getting all your paperwork. That's just the beginning of it. But I mean, just actually having the confidence to open the door is hard. I mean, I teeter-tottered for maybe 2 weeks before we opened the shop. Everything was ready. We were fully trained. It was like we were ready to go. But there was something in me that was just kind of scared. And it's a scary feeling. So like, just opening the doors is a huge accomplishment. Not even selling anything, just opening the doors. For us, was like the most exciting day and still remains in my mind as like one of like the happiest days I've ever been. I would say my next accomplishment would be to just create a team who's really going to help me. There's no way that I'd be able to do it without the people around me. It takes everyone to run a shop. And I am so grateful for not only like all the effort that they put in, but the ownership that they've taken over the shop. You can't, it's invaluable, right? I can never repay my team for what they've done for me because it really is. It's like anything. It takes a tribe to really get it going.
That's right.
And I will never forget that. So to me, those small wins really is what creates Northwood Coffee. Like it's the sense of community that we've made within our team, which then resonates to everyone else who comes in, right? Because if we're happy, we're all like kind of like shedding light on that. But also it's just that we're able to create really good coffee, really good experience, and we're having fun while we're doing it. So it's like, what could you not like about that, right? And so just those things for me have been so rewarding, and it's so beyond the monetary value. It's not the money. Like for me, if you're trying to make a lot of money, coffee margins aren't high. So for me, it's that rewarding feeling of like coming in and seeing the same like 3 people that I see every morning who come in for their cup of coffee and having that interaction. It's like those are the small wins that I'm like, those are invaluable.
That was a lot.
Okay.
So when I hear that, I go, well, I want to start a business. I want to build a team. I want people to support me. I want to have customers that come and that make me excited to come back. I want to start this business, or I want to own a coffee shop, or I want to do this, but what were the real challenges that actually happened, maybe even leading up to opening the doors?
Yeah.
And then maybe that first week or two and what it looks like now.
Yeah. So challenges for me, the biggest one was money. I mean, it's like anything else. Well, it's going to be two things. It was losing security, because we live in a day and age where like you have to work if you want to survive, and that's like a true notion. So losing that kind of security blanket of like leaving my corporate job and being like, all right, like this has got to work, that's scary. So overcoming that hurdle first was important for me. It was kind of one of those things where I had to look at my life and say, is this bringing me happiness? And it just kind of wasn't anymore. And the answer was so clear. It was no. It was that simple. It was like, I'm not happy doing this.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't willing to sacrifice my happiness for monetary value. I said I wouldn't do that again, right? But life is life. And so that also, there's like, it's a fine line. It's like, I want to be happy, but I have to work to survive. So for me, it was getting over that first hurdle. And really what that is self-confidence. It's that you believe in yourself. Mm-hmm. If you believe in yourself, other people will start to believe in you. It's really crazy. It was like, people early on doubted me a lot. Why coffee? Why are you going to do this? You've never done this, you know, and you have those doubts yourself. I mean, you're questioning every single thing. So for me, just not allowing those doubts to really cloud my mind or my judgment and being like, I can do this and no one is going to tell me otherwise, and having that self-confidence and that grit is what made me take the first step, which was I'm going to let go of something that's not making me happy anymore, although it's kind of scary. Yeah. My next thing is, okay, well, yeah, where are we going to get the money to do this? So really just having a plan, which is how much is it going to cost? It's just asking yourself those like basic questions. Yeah. Is it feasible for me right now? Or do I need to start my dream a little bit different? You know, a lot of people say, oh my God, I can't believe you just opened a coffee shop out of nowhere. And there's so much behind the scenes that's not out of nowhere. There's been, you know, years of want, of sacrifice, of, you know, planning. And finally, it came. And yes, it visually looks like it just popped out of nowhere, but that's not necessarily the case. It's that there's a lot of hard work that goes on behind the scenes. And for me, like, more insight is that I started doing pop-ups at markets. Mm-hmm. So I would work my corporate job Monday to Friday, and then on the weekend I would be like, all right, Saturday and Sunday I'm gonna, you know, go to these markets. We're in Florida, so it's like 99 degrees out, you know, you're sweating, but you're like so happy to be there because it's the potential for you to move on and go do something else. So for me, it was like overcoming that first initial step of like, I got to get out of something that's not making me happy, and then transitioning and being like, all right, I have enough self-confidence and I know that I have the skill set to find the information that I need to make better assessments of decisions that I'm going to make that are going to make or break my goals, right? Or my dreams. Yeah. So kind of taking that approach was just important. And I say that with like self-confidence, you can kill anything you do. I mean, there's no one that can tell you can't. Well, I know you're just starting a new podcast. Yeah. So for us, it's like, what's been like your back end to start this? Because obviously you've been in digital before, and now why this?
It's a good question. It's like, where do I begin? So your question is why?
Why podcast?
Why podcasting? Because my heart is to share stories and create a platform for other people to share their stories. Why podcasting? It's because, as I was sharing before, when I was 18, 19, I just spent 3 to 4 years coming out of severe anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, bullying, cutting, bad relationships, all these things. And I really was getting sick of being unhappy. So I started to look at business owners because they were talking about personal development habits, waking up early, taking care of your habits, or taking care of your, body, exercise, food, educating themselves. And I was in college, so, studying hard, working hard, all of these practical things that I hadn't learned. So I began doing them. And when my thoughts changed, my habits changed, my actions changed, and I began to actually cultivate this happiness inside of me. And now we fast forward 7 years, And I'm sitting here going, okay, I do photo and video. I love business. Why am I doing photo and video? Been doing this for years, and I still don't understand what my purpose is for this. And my relationship with God leads me to look to him and go, why am I doing this? I want you to give me the answer. I don't want to look for money or the outcome or people or all of these things that I once did in what I do. So I remember getting this feeling in me from God going, remember how those people did podcasts, YouTube videos, and wrote books, how that changed your life? And I'm going, yeah. Mm-hmm. And he goes, you need to create that space for people to tell their stories so that you can impact the 13-year-old self, the 13-year-old version of me, or other young people who are struggling, who don't know where to go, what to do, who are stuck in those places. Maybe you could be 50 or 60, whatever age that is, but you don't know how to take the next step in business. You've never had someone encourage you. You don't know what it looks like to eat better or to train harder or to start a business or to build community or all of these things that might seem so easy and practical that we can easily take for granted and that I never knew or understood. So that was about a year ago now where I got that clarity of, wow, I'm doing all this video stuff, which at the time was more events, photo shoots, branding stuff with photos, corporate videos, fitness stuff. I'm going like, there's something deeper here that I'm missing. Boom, there it is. It's to be able to get people to tell their stories, because when people share what they have, their experiences, their testimonies, it encourages others to walk in the same strength that you did. So the Hebrew word for testimony means to do it again with the same power and authority. And that's what we carry when we share our stories. So that's why podcasting. And it was about 5 months ago that God told me, I felt in my heart, God say, you need to go buy stands, mics, cables, a recorder, extra tripods, lights. And I'm going, I don't have a podcast and I don't have clients. So what would I be doing with this?
Yeah.
And I just remember feeling, do you trust me? And I'm like, yeah, you've provided for me thus far. You've rescued me from when I was lost. I trust you. So I spent a couple $1,000s that I probably shouldn't have on all this gear. And it really didn't do much for a few months. And over the last couple months, I've seen these little God winks, I like to say. People saying, I really want to start a podcast. I really want to start a podcast here, here, here. I'm going, okay. I'm seeing the need. Someone might say, oh, you're looking for it and you found it. Well, I would say, the Lord's really been highlighting this thing for me, and now I'm able to see what his purpose is within me doing it. And it began to trickle in with these conversations where I'm having clarity on my mission and my purpose as I took a step out in faith and had this equipment, right? It wasn't like I had the idea and I'm like, God, please provide all of the things.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to act on this call and walk in faith, not ask God for faith. He's given us faith to walk in.
Agreed.
Right? So I do these things, and now I'm going, okay, this person, I want to start a podcast, and I also want to produce podcasts for people. And as I start to share my heart, it's important to tell your story. You could change someone's life. Like it saved mine. The conversation starts to continue. And now all of a sudden people are resonating, right? And relating with what I'm saying and relating with why I need to do this, why this is my mission, why this is my call. And it's slowly become something that now is growing quite quickly, where I can't really make it up or make sense of it other than that God's got his hand on it. He put this in my heart and I trust him with it, because it doesn't really make sense why all these things happen other than it was him who put it in me, and I'm just walking in faith of what he called me to do. So a quick testimony, this is kind of funny, this is just yesterday.
Yeah.
Me and Gio are driving down south to a job to work with a airplane component company called Thrust Tech.
Cool.
And we're just in the car praying, like, God, help us with this job. We love you. Provide for us the connections, help us on the shoot, help us have wisdom to fix problems as we, have them. These very simple things of just like, God, be with us. And we're going, bring the people who are ready for a podcast, who either have funds prepared or they have the dream in their heart and just don't, have the person to help them produce it.
Like the outlet.
Exactly. And we do the headshots for this company. I was doing corporate headshots, and Gio begins to share his story of just coming back from Haiti. And the owner of this company goes, oh, you need to talk to this other guy who works in the company. He's Haitian. And they began to talk, and I'm just listening. And then I tune in, and I just go, hey, this is my heart. This is what I'm trying to do. If you know anyone who's looking to do a podcast, you can reach to us. That's what we do. And he goes, me. I'll be your client. I've been wanting to do this for a long time.
It's putting it in the universe.
And I'm like, taking a moment to register how wild this is. Because the thing is, we often believe that we have to do things to earn. And that's the culture and world that we live in. Work really hard, get money, do these things to earn someone's trust, and, they'll stick with you.
It's very transactional.
Exactly. With relationships, with business, with friendships. But God, that's not your relationship with God. It's a free gift of salvation, a free gift of love. So I'm sitting there going, wow, not, oh my gosh, client, oh my gosh,
no.
Possibly money, oh my gosh, what, holy, I'm sitting there going, God loves me so much that he cares enough to throw in this little bitty thing that's like, I heard your prayers.
It's confirmation.
And he loves me so much that he just wants me to see it in this little area. And it just overwhelms me because I see it in so many places. But that is why podcasting, that is how I got to where I am, and a little bit of what's happening now. And now we're sitting here doing my own podcast. That was a dream that was put inside of me 6-ish years ago. And now it's in front of us, and I get to sit down with you, hear more about your story.
I'm honored to be sitting with you because I feel like the sentiment is very similar. It's that I've also wanted to do something creative like this, and it's sometimes out of my scope. I don't even know where to begin. But you kind of walked into this coffee shop, Jackson, one day, and I was just like, who is this stellar guy who's just has so much energy and is so positive? Honestly, you're so positive.
Thank you.
And you quickly that day just looked at me and you were like, I got to talk to you about a podcast. And that day for me was wow, I had just been talking about wanting to do a podcast, but not knowing where to start. And that's what happens with a lot of us. It's we have these great ideas and then we're kind of stumped. And kind of going back to what I said, it's part of that self-confidence, but it's also being able to read those cues, right? And it's you really should try. And I'm glad that I did because so much of me was am I not going to be great? Am I not going to be able to answer questions? I've never done something like this. But to be honest, for the greater good of what we need to be doing, which is what your goal is and your mission, which is to create a space where people can really identify with everything that you've done, everything that I've done, and to just feel that little bit of potential, say, hey, I can do it too. And that really is what it is. It's we can all do it. We all have it in us.
Yes.
It's just that believing, and then also having stuff like this, right? Which is where we can bounce ideas off of each other and where we can sit together and say, yeah, you're on your own path and I'm on my own path, but somehow we're on the path together. Just different subjects.
I love that. How much power there is in our testimony.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
especially everything we put out into the universe. Like, it's so powerful. And it is true. I think that what you put out is so powerful. And for me, even with the coffee shop, it's like what I want to put out for the coffee shop is truly an experience where you can come in and you feel great. It is. It's a place where you can kind of disconnect from the real world, talk to someone for an hour or 10 minutes, whatever, you know, your deal is. But it really is. It's to create that environment where you feel safe and you can have a good cup of coffee.
Well, I definitely feel safe when I'm here. So that's good. You're doing pretty good. Yeah. I want to ask, what are some practical things, some key things that people, whether it's a coffee shop or a podcast or any type of business, you know, a produce business, whatever that looks like, what are some practical things that you've learned that you wish someone would have told you early on that could absolutely shift things?
I got you. I think that one of the most important things is like, don't sleep on your downtime. Like, a lot of people are like waiting for like the ball to get rolling, but once that ball gets rolling, there's no going back. So understanding that there's so much value in those quiet moments, because looking back, you know, for 6 months, I was like doing things that I could have been utilizing my time so much better if I would have just like maybe envisioned what it's become. And now looking back, I'm like, wow, those quiet moments were moments that you really should utilize. Like, if I could go back, I would say utilize every single moment that you're slow, that you feel like you're not getting there, or that you feel that you're still trying, or you're still building. Look, during that building process, you're going to learn so much. And during that downtime is when you're really going to be able to dive in. But once stuff gets going, it's a lot harder to kind of like work backwards. And so I would tell any entrepreneur, anyone who's wanting to start something, those downtimes are almost more valuable than once the ball gets rolling, because it really is going to be like the forefront of what you put down. It's like your stepping stone of like what you want. And during those quiet times, you do have time to think. Nothing's been created yet in hindsight, right? But those little moments and all that time is really where your business grows. And then the rest is just putting it into fruition, right? Like working the shop for me. But any subject would be really great to use those downtimes, because it's not always going to be like that. And before you know it, it's going to click. And once it clicks, like there's no going back. So downtime.
That's really good. Are there practical things like how you manage money, how you communicate with employees, preparation, what you do on a day-to-day, how you educate yourself to stay up and learn and humble yourself, because you don't know everything and you need to be constantly learning? Like, what are some more practicals?
So I would say for me, like, let's start with my team. I think that understanding what motivates people is so important. Not everyone that's going to come in contact with you is so passionate about what you're selling or what your business is. And that's okay, right? Because this could be what the stepping stone that they need to be able to get where they want to be.
Yeah.
And sometimes pushing your dream isn't necessarily the way to go.
That's good.
So I always say, like, find what motivates your team.
Yes.
For me, I have an array. I have people who are motivated by money, which go for it. You know, if that's what motivates you, that's what motivates you. But I have people who their motivation is more knowledge. They want to learn everything I know. And if that's what motivates you, then I'm going to teach you.
Yeah.
So honing into like their motivations is important. It's how I keep my team. It's how I keep them motivated. It's how I keep them wanting to come to work happy. So for me, I always say, like, find what motivates the people around you, because they will work for you, even if they don't share the same passions. But if you do, not only will they also, they will believe in you because they're being seen and heard. Me pushing my dream down their throat is not going to get my business further ahead, right? It's going to get me ahead a little bit, but then there's going to be more turnover. It's going to cost my business more money in the end. So for me, really, is honing in on how I can keep this person long term, because I care about them.
Yeah.
And they bring value add to my business regardless if they have the same, wants and needs in the future. So honing in on motivation. I would say, let's talk about money, because everyone's like, well, how do you manage the money?
Yes.
And it's okay. How do you manage the money? Sit down, you two. So my next point would be money, which most people would say is the most daunting thing about opening a business. Because, you have overhead. You want to make sure you can meet overhead. And I'm not going to lie to you. Some months you're kind of waiting for those last couple days in hopes that you're going to make it. And those times are scary. but just having a realistic aspect of where you are. It's okay to want to aspire for more, but when that becomes your ammo and you can't afford it, you will lose what you have.
Yeah.
So sometimes starting small is okay. It's okay to not be where you want to be right now.
Yeah.
I always say that. If I tell you, like, I'm so grateful for my coffee shop and where it is today, I am. I, like, could not say anything else. But I also could pivot from that and say, well, I wish I was further along, and I wish I had this, and I wish
Sure.
I had that. But realistically, I am where I am today, and I'm going to take one step at a time, and I will get there. So having that notion and believing in yourself that you will get there, we just have to work out some things.
Yeah.
I don't have the answer to everything. So part of my day is like working the coffee shop all day, and then from 6 to 10 o'clock at night, I'm researching. I'm having to teach myself things that I've never knew. But there also comes a sense of ownership. It's, all right, if I want to get this done, I'm going to do it. And I also believe that knowledge is power. I could tell you that my goal would be to like sell the business and make millions. Like, it's not. For me, it's to acquire as much knowledge as I can right now for me to get to that point, which I don't even know what it is anymore. I don't know. Right now, I take day by day, and I'm like so happy and blessed that I'm here and that I'm meeting all these incredible people that come through the door that even to this day, I go home and I'm in awe. I'm like, I cannot believe it. So that to me is so fulfilling, but also like it's doable for others. It's just having a realistic aspect of like where you really are. And it's okay if you're not where you want to be. You will get there.
You made me think about a time where I wasn't having money come in that I needed, and I'm going, oh no, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
And I remember it so clearly because I was wondering, you know.
And it's scary.
I felt fine. You know, I had peace, but I'm going, the numbers don't add up here. There's not enough. And boom, in an instant, a check from a client that took way too long hits the account, $5,000. And I'm sitting there going, holy crap. This stuff happens.
Yeah.
And it blew me away because I was not looking for it. I wasn't ready. I'm going, how am I, you know, going to have money? I don't have a job lined up in front of me. And it just really built my faith in what I'm doing. You made me think about that when you were talking about a struggle. Is there a testimony? I can't remember exactly what it was that you said that made me think about that, but where you didn't know if something was going to happen. You didn't know if you were going to get the employees. You didn't know if the money was going to hit the account or the loan was going to get approved, and it ended up happening.
So for me, we live in South Florida, so real estate's like really expensive right now. We all know that. Like if you want to live down in South Florida, like I'm telling you now, save your money because it's expensive, right? So like what I tell people, it's like getting a retail space was hard. I mean, I was looking at places where they were like, oh, it's gonna be $14,000 a month, and I'm like, oh my God, I'd have to sell like so many coffees, you know? And like, do I think it's possible?
Do you know how many coffees that is? Did you do the math?
No, I'll do the math after this, but I'm going to tell you it's way more than I can. You know, it's like, whoa. So like starting out, you know, in an industry that I had never been in before, that was just like a lot and discouraging. To be honest, I heard that number and I instantly felt deflated. I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to do this. Like, you know, just, and that alone was just kind of like, okay. So I kind of started pivoting. I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to be like in the best place downtown, or, you know, I have to look other places. My place will come. But for us, it was finding this location. It was expensive. We had to kind of negotiate it, and it was out of my price range. It really was. For me, like being realistic, like I just told you that you really need to be realistic. I couldn't afford it. I really couldn't. But I persevered so much. I ended up asking the owner of the building so many. I think he must have thought I was so annoying. I mean, I called him every single day. I'm like, has anyone else taken, you know, the spot? Is anyone else interested? I'm so passionate. I was telling him my visions. I was like, I'm gonna do this, 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 and this. And I'm sure to him I sounded crazy. He was like, who's this girl calling me every day?
But you know it. You were confident.
I knew it. It's like in my heart, like I knew that like I could do it. And it was almost like I just needed this one one hurdle. I needed to overcome this one hurdle, which was like getting this guy to lower this rent, you know? So I started doing some research. I always tell people, I'm like, knowledge is power. The space had been empty for 3 years. It was adding no value to his property. So to me, I really painted the picture. I'm going to do this, this, and this. And he brought down his price to meet what I could afford. And that day I went home so excited, but also so scared because it had become a reality. Like it was like, here we go, like gear up, order this coffee machine, and like there's no going back. And so like for me, that was a pivotal moment. That was like stuff like this just doesn't happen. The economy here is like booming. There's a lot of money coming in, and like that's not normal. That's like a really like I'm like that's a God moment. Like that's him guiding me in the right way, and also like putting me where I needed to be because something about this space just was like mine, and I knew it. So honestly, like that for me was like huge.
That's powerful.
And in the power was also just like, it truly was confirmation for someone who had never done this before. I was scared, but it was like the push that I needed to say, all right, you're never going to get this opportunity again. It's now or never.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was. It's like, it's been a whirlwind since.
So what's some of your vision for the future? Like what can we expect? What can I expect to see from you? Is it another location? Is it pop-ups outside doing events around the space? Is it another business? Is it selling everything and moving to Antarctica? Like
Not yet.
what's in the future 5, 10, 15 years down the road?
Yeah, I think for me, this first venture gave me the confidence that I needed to continue. I have so many ideas. As I told you, I was a really imaginative kid, and it's come with me as an adult. It's almost to a detriment because you have so many ideas that sometimes they're all just ideas until you take action. So for me, I would say that in the next 5 to 10 years, I would love to continue to open coffee shops in different neighborhoods. Not the same kind. I think it's important to view your business based off what's around. For us, Northwood Coffee really became what it is because of the community, Northwood. It's just such a tight-knit community that we believe that we can build these places out based off our surroundings. I love to pay homage to like everything that's around me. I think that between the community and the history, there's so much. So for me, it'd be to open a couple different coffee shops based off different, locations, but also different business ventures. I would love to get into the clothing business. It's a passion of mine. So outside of Northwood Coffee, I also own a boutique. And I do pop-ups with it. It's so fun. It's something that really connects me, again, to the community. It puts me in front of a lot of people during a time that we're in South Florida. Weather's great. The green market here is insane. It's a good time. Like, I'm sure if you've been, it's such a good time. You see so many people. Yeah, it's a good sense of community. But also for me, it also allows me to still continue to thrive in like that curated creative sense. I don't think you have to pigeonhole yourself. Just like, you started in digital, now you're going to like go into podcasts. I think it's like that with a lot of things. Yeah. One thing can lead you to another, and no dream is ever too big or too small. You just have to have enough time in the day to take care of it all, right? But over time, that's really kind of where I see myself in the next 5 to 10 years. And that may change, but that's kind of where I see myself today.
It's beautiful. I want to encourage you as well. You have vision. I see you being able to lead people very well, and you see in them what they don't see in themselves. So when you have vision and you're able to see these things that other people don't, you can connect where they're at with where they want to go, and even show them where they can go outside of their view of who they see themselves as. So I just want to encourage you. You have awesome. Very powerful vision, and you carry strength that people look at and go, I want that. So it's really cool to see someone like you who does care so much, who is so strong-willed and willing to bring people in and care about community and love other people, because there's a lot of people who have the wrong motives, or I guess I can't say wrong, different motives, and just just keep going.
Oh, thanks, Jackson.
There's a ripple effect. You know, the same thing like telling a story, you encouraging someone as they come and work for you could be changing their dynamic financially, their family at home because of their attitude. I mean, they could have community and you know these things, but I just want to encourage you. That's what the outcome of these visions is.
And honestly, you saying that is like total confirmation because for a long time, I viewed like my strong suit to be overbearing, right? I'm very opinionated and I'm strong-willed. And obviously you're going to tell from this podcast that I am. I speak my mind, but always to better my surroundings. I definitely think that there's power in words, us talking here today.
Yes.
It's important for us to spread as much positivity, but also information, because it really is what we're looking for. It's those little confirmations that we need in life. And so like you telling me this today is like awesome, because what you see in me as something positive, I may have viewed in myself as something super negative. And recently, I have been getting more confirmation that it is true. And so who's to say that that doesn't lead into more of a coaching or teaching? And it's awesome because as humans, like we have to just be open. And you giving me that information, it's confirmation. And I'm thankful that you did, because it really could change my perspective on something that, I just didn't think was so positive.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's awesome.
That's the truth.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, the enemy, or more specifically, the devil wants to accuse you of things and bring in lies. It comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So when you have confusion, when there's fear, when you're thinking, oh no, can I do this? When you start to doubt, that is not of God. And you have to be able to, like it says in the word, take every thought captive and speak truth over that. But it takes asking God to identify those things so that we can be aware and then address them, move forward, surrender, and have peace about things. But I want to start to wrap up and ask you what you would tell your younger self. What would you encourage someone who's listening, whether it's a young girl or guy or really any age, who's wanting to start a business or already in? Like, what would you encourage them with? What do you wish someone would have told you?
Yeah. I would say it's a couple things. So to start off, I would say that it's never too soon. You can start anything. Your age doesn't really determine. So I would say if you have an idea, start. Because it's only an idea until you do something with it. Don't get mad because, oh my God, that was my idea. Well, we all have ideas. And what really differentiates us from actually making something happen is making that idea a reality.
Yeah.
So I would tell anyone, just start. It's really what I would tell my younger self. If I wouldn't have spent so much time self-doubting myself and letting the enemy kind of get in my ear and, not allowing me to embrace who I'm meant to be. It's who I am. I probably would have never built enough courage and enough strength to do what I'm doing today. So start, because you're going to be your biggest advocate. You're going to know what you do and what you don't know, and you can learn it. You have the resources, you're capable, and just believing in yourself, because I believe in most people. I'm going to tell you, I believe that if you have an idea, there's a reason why you have that idea. And it may not be your end all, but it's going to guide you to where you need to be. So start. I would also say no idea is too small. Just because you're going to start small doesn't mean that it's not going to grow. We have to start with what we got. It's the reality. And sometimes I think that with Instagram and social media and all these other outlets, you're going to compare yourself to everyone. But everyone is on their own journey, and understanding that and embracing that, saying like, hey, I can't compare myself to a company who's been in business for 10 years. Like, it's just not realistic. It's also going to give you a negative standpoint, because you're going to look back at yours and you'll be like, well, it's not as great as that. And I don't have all that money, and I don't have, these resources. But what you do have is you have heart, you have grit, and you have a dream and an idea that's now going to become a reality. Yeah. And that's enough to get you where you want to go.
That's good.
Between those, I mean, you could do it. Anyone can.
It encourages me.
Oh, good.
I definitely have ideas. I'm like, should I start?
Why
Even
not?
today.
Yeah. Like us doing this podcast. Like,
this is taking that step and just
Correct.
starting.
It's taking
Literally.
that step, and the next time you do it, you're gonna have more ideas. You're gonna be like, "Whoa, we did it once, and now I have
Yep.
this and this and this." And those little ideas and those little snippets of
Yeah.
encouragement and motivation, because that's what it becomes. You almost get excited that you want to like explore more. Those are the times where you're almost gonna surprise yourself. You're gonna be like, "Wow, I didn't even know I had that in me," you know? And it's kind of cool to see. You really can transcend.
And I want you to plug Northwood. Give a little shout out to yourself in the coffee shop. What's going on here? What can you expect? What do you see excite other people that come in? What are you hearing? Is it the coffee, the community? Just give a little shout out to yourself.
Yeah, I would say that Northwood Coffee has really become a community hub. We sell really good coffee and pastries, and that's awesome. But really, I think that what people have resonated with is how they feel when they come and how they feel when they leave. It's the experience. So Northwood Coffee, honestly, has become that, an experience. You can come here, you can drink coffee, you can get a quick pastry, you can shop curated goods that I curate myself based off things that I think people in our community would love. So you can come shop, you can sip, it's awesome. We also have games that you can play. Coming up shortly in September, we're gonna be doing a really cool series. It's called Beats and Brews. So we'll have a DJ here who will play and spin for about 3 hours. Some cool chill music while we can enjoy some specials on our coffees and croissants. And then we'll also have a couple local vendors. Like I said, part of our community is that we want other people to grow. So we want to have local community whose businesses are just starting. So we'll have a couple local vendors every Saturday that you can shop from. And what's cool is that you'll get to know them, but also they're part of our community as well. And so we want to give back. We want to make sure that we can kind of create this hub for more people, more creatives. It could be more than what we've made it, just coffee. So for us, it really is. It's a space that we can all call our own.
Well, I think that concludes our podcast.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Number 1.
Are we about to trend?
Trending.
Please press likes.
Oh, man. All right. That is episode 1 in the books.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun, and I hope to do it again.
Please, if you liked the episode, tell a friend about it, send it to them, like and comment. That would mean a lot.